This is Major General William Neal McCaslin, a former commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory, the organization responsible for advanced military technology and science. He also worked on space systems and special programs at the Pentagon, projects that were so classified that many inside the government never even got to see them. And here's where the story really gets strange. The base that he once led, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, is historically linked to Project Blue Book. This is the reported U.S. military's official investigation into UFO sightings. McCaslin once oversaw a $2 billion budget and some of America's biggest secrets. So when somebody like that disappears, you know people start asking questions, particularly since McCaslin had disappeared right after the president announced that he was directing the release of UFO and extraterrestrial materials. So you can see why there are those online who are fully into theory mode right now, right? The FBI, multiple other agencies are now involved in this search. I want to bring in somebody who has been following this story closer than anyone, believes that McCaslin's disappearance has very important implications. Ross Coulthart is an investigative journalist who hosts News Nation's very popular Reality Check podcast, covers the stories that the mainstream media is too afraid to touch. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You called this a grave national security crisis. Why?
Good evening, Jesse. Well, Major General McCaslin, as you rightly noted, was an extremely senior commander at the Air Force Research Laboratories, which does a lot of the materials, aerospace, weapons research for the US Air Force and indeed the entire US Defense Department. He was in that role until 2013, and I'm told he was very, very highly cleared, very highly respected. And of course, as you rightly noted, Air Force Research Laboratories, Wright-Pat, is the location where the rumoured UAP materials from the 1947 Roswell incident were taken. It's long been rumoured to be a repository for top secret materials that were recovered from alleged non-human craft. And of course, McCaslin has been named previously in leaked emails that associated him with a plan back during the Clinton-Trump election campaign where John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, was involved in conversations with General McCaslin and another general from the US Air Force about what was clearly an intention to declassify and release UFO secrets to the American public.
He has a wealth of information, a storied career. The circumstances surrounding his disappearance are bizarre, to say the least. No clear direction of travel, no identified clothing. That's what makes this so odd. Before we even get into the allegation of, let's say, someone took him, can we just cut right through it? I mean, the idea that he disappears right after the announcement that there's going to be a release of these UFO files, these UAP files, extraterrestrial files. I know a lot of people are trying to make a connection. Is there anything you're seeing besides it just being a very strange coincidence?
It's an alarming synchronicity. I think we can put it at that, Jesse. We do know that General McCaslin was well respected by people who were pushing for UAP disclosure, including very senior people in Hillary Clinton's campaign back in 2016. We know he was planning to disclose UAP secrets in what was expected to be a Clinton presidency. And it's really interesting that this follows so closely, his disappearance follows so closely on the heels of President Trump's announcement that he was intending to declassify UFO files, a promise, by the way, which the president hasn't followed up on yet.
Well, Iran, I mean, that took center stage. Let me ask you this. Speaking of which, just got to throw it out here. If he was, let's say, kidnapped, if he was taken, who would want to take him? What would be some countries you would be looking at and say, wow, if they got a hold of this guy, you know, he's a wealth of information, he has the secrets, he could be useful to what we're building or developing?
Well, we're 10 days now into his disappearance, and I've walked those tracks around his home in Albuquerque. I actually tried to meet him by leaving a letter in his letterbox once and hoping I'd bump into him while he was on the trails, because I heard he was a runner. It's not a place where you would just disappear, even if you are medically incapacitated. So there are people now talking about the possibility of foul play, and the obvious suspects are potential foreign adversary powers. China, Russia. The general has a lot of the most sensitive secrets of the United States locked up in his head. Before he became the commander of the Air Force Research Laboratories, he was the director of special programs inside the Pentagon, handling some of the most sensitive secrets at the very top of the Department of Defense. This is a man who's cleared for some of the biggest secrets in the United States military and intelligence community.
The other way of looking at it as well, and again, since there's no definitive proof or announcement of foul play, is a silver alert being issued. We've seen it happen before. People who are older, who have some sort of medical issue, perhaps a mental health issue. I'm not saying that's the case here, but even so, it would be strange that he would, potentially disappear on his own and not be found. However, this is an individual who does have experience in the outdoors, right? And you do wonder, would he have the capabilities to disappear and not be found?
I've spoken to friends of his, and I've also read a statement by his wife, Susan, and they've made it very clear that there was no mental incapacity, that the general was extremely fit. He'd cycled 60 miles the previous weekend.
Wow.
He's well known for being a trail runner, an extremely fit, agile, mentally alert man. I suspect the silver alert is purely and simply because he requires medication that he has to take which is just prescribed by his doctors. There's no indication that there was any kind of illness that would lead to him being incapacitated in some way and unable to return home. It's also unusual, Jesse, that he left his phone at
Yeah,
home.
that
Uh, it's a real question mark. It's almost as if, was he going out to meet somebody and he didn't want to be tracked or listened to? What is also puzzling a lot of his friends is the low-key nature of the FBI investigations. This is a very senior former Pentagon general, a man with some of the most sensitive national secrets in his head. It really hasn't featured much at all in any media releases by local sheriffs or by the
right.
FBI. They're taking an extremely low-key approach.
Yeah, and they're dedicating a ton of resources to this, multiple agencies. Ross Coldhart, thank you for being on top of this. We're going to be on top of this as well. You can watch Ross's podcast, Reality Check, on News Nation's YouTube channel. Thanks so much for taking the time, sir. Appreciate it.